It's the scorching month of April. We see a farmer, Ramesh, standing in his field filled with fresh tomato saplings. He slowly starts walking between the rows of tiny tomato plants, watering them one by one. Suddenly, a thought catches him off guard.
What if the prices fall this year too? How will I feed my family? What about my son's college fund?
Ramesh knows that this season, unfortunately, every farmer he knows has planted tomatoes, which means by June, when the harvest starts, the market could be flooded. And if the supply increases too much, the prices could fall drastically. But then, an idea sparks in his mind. He calls up Sudhakar, a vegetable wholesaler from the neighboring village.
Hello Sudhakar, I can give you 20 kilos of tomatoes in June, but you have to promise me to buy them for 40 rupees per kilo.
Sudhakar thinks for a moment.
That sounds like a good deal, as long as you can supply me with the fresh tomatoes.
What Ramesh and Sudhakar just did is called a forward contract. It's when two people decide today what price something will be sold for in the future. In this case, Ramesh has promised to sell tomatoes in June and Sudhakar has promised to buy them for 40 rupees per kilo. But interestingly, when June arrives, only one of them will get a better deal. June arrives and just like Ramesh feared, the market is flooded with tomatoes. Prices fall to just 20 rupees per kilo and most farmers are forced to sell at that price. But not Ramesh. Because of the deal, Ramesh gets to make a profit instead of a loss. However, Sudhakar on the other hand is forced to buy these tomatoes for higher prices. But markets are unpredictable. What if something like heavy rains happen and it destroys crops in nearby regions? Suddenly, tomatoes become scarce and prices shoot up to 80 rupees per kilo. Now the situation flips because even though the market price is high, Ramesh still has to sell the tomatoes at 40 rupees per kilo, whereas Sudhakar gets to buy them at a much cheaper price. As you can see, a forward contract doesn't completely eliminate risk. It simply transfers it from one person to another. Now, while this may sound a bit odd, this practice still continues because it locks in the price today, so that in the future, both parties know exactly what they're getting. In this case, Ramesh gets certainty about the price he'll receive and Sudhakar gets protection from rising prices. But forward contracts are not always as simple as it seems, because when June finally arrives, things can get complicated. What if Sudhakar sees that tomato prices have fallen to Rs 20 and simply refuses to buy from Ramesh? Or what if, because the prices shoot up to 80, Ramesh refuses to sell at a lower agreed price? This is one of the biggest weaknesses of a forward contract. Since this is a private agreement between two people, there is no official system guaranteeing that the deal will actually happen. So how do you make sure that deals like this are actually honored? That's where financial markets come into play. They created a system where agreements are no longer made privately. Instead, they are made through an organized exchange where every contract follows fixed rules. The quantity is fixed, the delivery date is fixed, and the exchange guarantees that neither side has to blindly trust the other. These standardized agreements are called futures contract. But unlike forwards, futures contracts are standardized, which means traders cannot negotiate the quantity, quality, or delivery date. They must trade according to the rules set by the exchange. The advantage, however, is that the exchange guarantees the contract. So even if one party fails to fulfill their side of the deal, the other party will still receive their profits. Which is why futures contracts are not only used by people like Ramesh and Sudhakar. In reality, most traders in the futures market don't want tomatoes at all. They're simply trying to predict where market prices will go next. These traders are called speculators. But that's a topic for another video. We'll see you then. Thank you. Investments in securities markets are subject to market risk. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.